Just before we get started, I just wanted to do some introductions for each of our panelists, Hosni, Boulant, Layla, Paul, and Himanshu. So we're going to run through that fast here. First of all, from Agile Extended, we heard from Reed before, but right now we're going to hear from Layla. Layla's going to be on our panel, and just bear with me 1 minute here. So Layla is the CEO of Agile Extended, and she's the founder of that was founded in 2016. About that time, she wrote this book called Synchronize, that is called Compass for Agility, Organizational Agility Realized. And she is really a sought after speaker and facilitator in the world of organizational change management and Agile as it was coming out from 2010 and on. She's facilitated many planning and tactical delivery of organizational change in a wide range of clients, everything from government to beer companies. She has a team of coaches, facilitators, designers, innovators, and trusted advisors to optimize your organizations. And she also is the co-founder of Lean In Agile for Women, by women, of women, to raise the value and visibility of women within the Lean and Agile communities. When Layla actually unwinds, she likes to visit her family, especially her niece. I've heard a lot of stories about her niece. All right, next we have Hosni, who just spoke a few minutes ago from Creatisoft, 30 plus years of simulation experience and many, many patents. Next, we have Paul Goulben from Excellence, who we just heard at the top of the hour with Himanshu Boy, and they both have a lot of experience in hyper transforming your enterprise with AI, RPA, and low code. And then we have our featured AI scientist who's been doing this and teaching it for many, many years is Boulant Unaker. Dr. Unaker has a doctorate in physics in 1997 and has been focused on medical imaging and later AI in all its facets. And he is the founder and CEO of a company called Data Speckle, located in Kelowna, British Columbia. He also serves as a director of academic affairs, senior AI researcher at Fuse Machines. Today, he's joining from Victoria, Canada, where he's spending time with his son. And his son is a virtuoso violinist or saxophonist and violinist. So he is joining us. So with that, I think we'll get started right into the program. Our first question. The first question is, what are the top challenges of implementing AI? And we see a few stats there. So I'm going to hand it over to Paul Goulben. Why don't you kick us off here?
Yeah, these are all, thanks, Jim. There's a lot of different challenges here, but if one or two that really resonate with me is privacy, trust, and ethical concerns. I know we talked a little bit about that yesterday on the call, but being able to have a trusted source and trusted applications and address ethical concerns is kind of sometimes overlooked with some of the data challenges and some of the technology capabilities in implementing AI. And a lot of times what we found, that topic comes in the middle or toward the end of an initiative that could actually extend the length of that particular initiative. So it's something to get in front of early as you're road mapping and designing your solution.
Thanks, Paul. Layla, you have anything to add there?
Well, I'm going to go straight for the combining people and computers part, because people are open to it. So, the mention of AI, people react though very differently. And they're the early adopters, and they're the ones who are very facing challenges about what AI means for them. And I think we have to have that conversation openly. What does AI mean for individuals, for their roles, how they define themselves and what matters to them? Because that is how we make AI sustainable. When the people in the organization are bought into that AI will help them do better in terms of accomplishing their mission, as opposed to being afraid of what they're going to lose with AI.
Thanks, Layla. Hosni?
There's quite a lot of challenges implementing AI. It goes from availability of the data, the accuracy of the data, the implementing AI is going to take my job away, that fear of what AI is today and how it's going to progress. These are all issues that we face all the time. The key is, data is going to be handled by the digital twin, as I mentioned in the call, in the previous webinar, and that's going to handle all the missing components that we have. You've got to see AI as an enabling technology, not as a technology we fear. It's going to help us do things better, faster, and that's really the key there. It's not just something that we should avoid in any way. One key thing in a company perspective is that AI is always feared as an element of change that everyone should avoid. And if a company wants to adopt AI, that's going to start from the top down. It's a cultural change throughout the company, from the CEO all the way down to every single worker within the organization. And it has to be driven by the fact that it's not taking work away or jobs away. It's empowering people to do things better and more efficiently.
Thanks, Hosni. Dr. Unekar.
Well, these are all good comments, and I see there are two phases in AI adoption. One is from the user's perspective, the other one is the developer's perspective. I'm not very much concerned about the adoption and the hesitation in adoption of AI, because we used to have typewriters and we did the transition from typewriters to word processors, and that happened, and this is going to be happening again. I don't think that this is going to be a big issue, apart from the noise. There's a lot of noise that our people are generating, and basically fear mongering about AI. These are all going to pass, but there are two aspects of AI adoption. One is from the consumer's or the company's perspective. That is to find the data and understand the problem properly, use the right tool of AI for the right problem. In order to do that, either you're going to have an in-house data science team, or you're going to be outsourcing this, relying on some experts, and you need to define your problem and which AI tool you need to use. From the developer's perspective or the AI practitioner's perspective, the issue is the performance of the AI models. And as we see, as the developments are just showing us with ChatGPT or several large language models and such, is not actually the model structure, the model architecture, because it looks like the best way to improve the model performance is to increase the data, the quality of the data, increase the amount of data. That has been demonstrated by ChatGPT. So that is going to be one of the prime challenges of the developers. So these are just the two things that I'm seeing on AI.
Thanks, Moat. Appreciate it. Himanshu, close us out.
Yeah, sure. I think, so as other panelists have mentioned, absolutely, data security is key. Paul, you got it right. I mean, we need to make sure the data is secure. And while implementation AI security is concerned, data quality is another concern. If you do not have a right data, building an AI engine on top of a bad data may not be a very good idea. And from a technology side, setting up a right tool, having either are you going through a vendor lock-in where you're going to have a specific vendor work for you, or you have your own in-house team of data science who are going to work for you. I mean, that is the little tricky part. We cannot just have those expert of the skill set gap needs to be filled before defining the AI strategy for sure. So there are some technical challenges, there are some data challenges, but as Dr. Unekar mentioned, that everybody has to adopt it. I mean, it's not something which is either or optional. It's going to happen sooner or later, be accepted or not. People will start using AI in their lives, and that's going to happen. It's just a matter of how you want to join the bandwidth. So I think the concerns would be from data quality, technical challenges, and perhaps some of the real ROI of this AI. A lot of people are talking about since the ChatGPT now with all generative AI, but do we really need generative AI for every problem, or do we have other solutions or other options available? So yeah, that's about it.
Great. Well, we have some questions coming in, but I'm going to move to the next slide and we'll pick those up in a few minutes. So the next is, what are the top benefits? We talked about the challenges. Now let's look at the flip side of it. And what are the benefits of integrating AI technology? And Hasni, why don't you kick us off?
Thanks, Jim. I mean, the benefits of AI is, we're just starting to look at what it can provide us and what it can offer the organizations in general, all the way from efficiency improvement to real-time decision making to forecasting and figuring out what's going to happen in the next step, in the next hour, next 2 hours, and be more proactive in the way the business is run instead of being reactive, waiting for the problem to happen and actually reacting to it. So there's new capabilities, new sections, new efficiency improvements that we can have. And at the same time, we can use that through the S&OP process and figure out what our cost is going to be, plan consumer demand better, and plan how we're going to react to that. So all these are part of AI that we can use constantly going forward. And the list is going to grow. I mean, we have a short list, I would say, on the slide at this point. And a year from now, we probably have 2 or 3 times as much benefits that we'll get from an AI system.
Thanks, Hasni. Paul?
Yeah, I think all these drivers are excellent, and they all roll up to making a business more efficient and more profitable, if you would. So I take it from a business perspective. So people can look at, like, for example, better leverage of talent and working with humans and machines. I think that roles will change, but productivity and administrative tasks will go down, productivity is up. And perhaps we can get more innovation out of those folks as well, too, focused in the right areas to bring on new capabilities and business models. So I think that what's really neat where we are in this whole landscape is these drivers all have interrelations that just add value to the organization.
Thanks, Paul. Layla?
I agree with Paul that all these are related and they all do roll up to a single outcome. Most of our clients are government agencies or nonprofit. So maybe a little bit less about the business outcome for them, but more about new opportunities, new ways of seeing connections that they could not see before. The sheer amount of data that exists in the government space, if AI can really connect all that, you should be able to see new opportunities, new ways of thinking, new ways of, oh, this connects to this, benefits. There's so many advantages to being able to connect all this data to accomplish most government agency missions. How do we better serve the people we're serving? Who are we missing? Who should be included? Whose voice is being heard? All of those opportunities should emerge with the use of AI effectively.
Thanks, Layla. And Dr. Unikar, please.
Well, there is not much to say about this one because the question of what is the benefit of using AI is telling me that AI is not internalized by so many people and it's an exterior entity. But this is actually not the right way of looking at it. If any technology, including AI, is not making things efficient or faster or contributing to life, or in this particular case, the company or the business, then it's not a useful tool. We should not be thinking that AI is something exterior that will have some effects, benefits, or side effects to our business. We should be considering AI as one of the tools that we are going to be using. If you have traveled to watch this webinar today or just join to this webinar today, and when you were doing this, if you did not horseback riding, if you did not use your horse rather than you flew or just ride on your car, then that is actually telling us why the technology is needed. It's just AI is just such a tool. It's your car today, it's going to be your robot next day, and in the future it's going to be your artificial assistants. So I don't think that we should be considering a lot or just focusing more on the benefits of AI. It's just a tool.
That's a very enlightening perspective, Bulan. Himanshu.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, again, I could agree more with all the panelists what everyone has shared. 100% agree. It improves some efficiency, automation, decision making, a lot of tools which can help facilitate day-to-day life. But more or so, what I have seen in my personal experience at Excellence, we specialize in SaaS product development, and we were very early adopters for Coded UI, Copilot, which came from Microsoft. In last 8 months, the level of improvement has happened. We have been using Copilot for last 2.5 years now, and it was so little tiny improvement in terms of productivity and efficiency. In last 8 months, I could see at least 30-35% efficiency, which means that a developer who would write a line of code in 40 hours now could reduce that within 30 hours. So what Paul, you mentioned, like now we have additional 10 hours for doing some better work, some more innovative work, and move not writing the same line of code again and again. So that's a real quick example which I wanted to share, but there are many other tools are available which are improving efficiency so much that leads to a better decision making and more innovation. So as time passes by, we're just going to see more and more of such innovation coming in.
So we do have a question that's kind of related to this, so I thought it'd be good to bring it up now. And it's this, with any other thing, and it gets to Bulan's point about why do we need to talk about this? And I think the reason we need to talk about it is because AI in some companies has, it's the flavor of the month. It's the hot button, the button that's going to fix everything. And then, there are shortcomings. So how do we navigate that? I think that's the underlying question here, is how do we navigate so that AI becomes part of your company? Right now, we're using external folks launching AI. We're bringing some in-house, but at some point in time, it's going to be just like IT is going to include AI. It's going to take 3 to 5 years to get there. We don't know how long it'll take to get there, but it's going to happen. Just like when we had IT only, then we had digitization, CDO, remember? Now you're going to see a CAO, right? So that's the evolution that we're moving in, and we're moving at a pace that whatever the companies are able to take it on from a competitive perspective. So with that, I'll just turn it, Bulan, I'll let you comment on that.
Is that me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think the envisioning of AI is the answer to this question. AI is a whole thing, and we need to accept this as a whole thing, like agile in business or any other practice we do in business. If we think that AI is like weight loss or exercising, if you go to gym for one day and you expect to see the best results ever, then you will be really disappointed. And AI is the same. If you consider AI as an ongoing practice in your business, then you will see the benefits. That is the first thing. The second thing is, whether you outsource or you just try to build your in-house team, you need to consistently look for what is your problem, what you are trying to solve, and what is the right tool for that one. If it is possible that you don't figure out the right tool right away, but there are experts on this, you can consult to them and they will tell you which tools to use. If your car breaks down today, you try not to fix it yourself. Just go to an expert.
Thanks, Golan. Layla, I know you want to comment on this.
There are a lot of parallels between how AI is being treated and how Agile was treated for a long time. And
Yeah.
what the common elements are is this is not a plug and play solution. You can't just buy this, add it to existing work and expect it to fix everything. Agile did not work that way, and neither does AI. And to the point made earlier, what is your why? Why are you using AI? What's the problem you're trying to solve? How does it improve your organization? Make a clear case for why and experiment in small feedback loops. I mean, that's the heart of Agile. Try something very small, see if it works, see if it makes a difference. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. You know, this is not rocket science to that degree. It's like any other new way of thinking. We learn by doing and do it in a responsible way with small scope, fixed outcome, and short feedback loops for validation.
Thanks, Layla. Who wants to go next?
I mean, I couldn't agree more with both of you. It's really, you have to define your goal and what you want to get to first, and that's always the starting point. And then you do the small proof of concept and make sure you can do it and how it's going to proceed. And then you grow from there. There is no tool that's going to give you a solution to everything on day one, and it just doesn't exist. It's not realistic to actually expect that. So it's all an iterative approach of getting to where you need to go. AI is constantly going to grow, and you have to push it more into the organization as things develop. It's just an evolving system that constantly has to be fine-tuned and improved through time.
Himanshu?
Yeah, sure. That's great, Hosni. I think I 200% agree. I think you start small, think in an agile way, consider an agile approach to implement AI. There is no one size fit all. So, and then pick that small POC, see how what ROI it brings, and then again, we pivot back. We want to change certain things and re-implement it. There are a lot of tools available. There are a lot of, just the matter of what problem you're trying to solve and how exactly you want to move forward towards the problem. And if you do it in an agile way, that's the best you can get out of AI.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to add to that, Himanshu, is one of my clients, we went all the way back to the GE model with Jack Welch of destroy your own organization. You know, we looked at competitive differentiation related to this.
There you go.
And like, you know, and our customers are talking about and asking for this, and they're outlining specific problems. You know, we had to basically up our game in order to not get disrupted as a business model and an overall organization. So I think the concept of business model innovation, what we're seeing is enabled by technology. AI is a piece of it. Find the right piece of innovation, provide cost leadership, differentiation, and scalability within the organization as well too. I think once you start thinking through it logically with a business lens on it and some of these benefits, it's just a way of getting everybody on board and aligned and making sure that, as Layla said, what's your why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, so this leads really well into our next slide, which is, you know, creating that business case. And maybe Bulaat, since we kind of created this a number of years ago with the Fuse Machines team, you can kind of go through it and how it's laid out.
Well, I think all the speakers mentioned all these items already in this conversation. I can quickly breeze through, and please chime in whenever you feel the necessity. First of all, the algorithm feasibility. So that's actually everyone agrees here that you need to use the right tool for the right problem, and that is the algorithm feasibility. And if you can't really find meaningful solutions to your problem, if you are trying to solve the problem that you are not asking the right problem, then you may enter into this issue. So algorithm feasibility is really important. The other thing is actually the impact, and that is very important. The amount of effort you put in must worth into the output that you're going to be getting. If you're spending a lot of time, a lot of effort, and if you're not really getting the outcome that you are expecting, if you can't foresee this, then that's going to affect your AI algorithm. No matter what performance your AI algorithm has, if the returns are not really matching the expectations, then you are going to be failing with this algorithm. But the most important of all is the data. If you don't have data, then you have nothing. You don't have AI, you don't have machine learning, you don't have computer vision. Data is actually giving you an understanding or the strength how much you understand the problem. If you do not understand the problem, if you don't have enough inputs about the problem and reliable inputs from the problem, then you can't really apply any algorithm. Even the state-of-the-art algorithms used today will be useless for you if you don't have data. So there is the saying, we keep saying, data is the king, and it is going to be the king all the time, because that is the information you have. And the other thing is, the last one is the recurrence. If the problem that you are trying to solve is one-off, it is happening once in 100 years, then it does not really make sense to spend time, resources, or effort on this one. It needs to be a recurring issue. So in order to approach to a problem, whether your business is AI-able, depends on the repeatability or just whether that problem is recurrent. If that is recurrent, if you have enough information, data, and if the returns are matching your expectations, then you need to go and find the right tool to solve it. That is what this slide is telling us.
Thanks, Bulent. Appreciate it. Paul, do you have some thoughts on this? I know you do.
Yeah, no, this is an excellent model, and I love it. Makes a lot of sense related to it. But what I'm talking to my customers about is, pick it up a level. What's the unique value proposition to the organization? How do we change either the way that we interact with our customers, take cost out of the operations, or create an entirely new business unit or business model? So what's the unique value proposition we're getting from this? The second dimension is, there a profit method? Like, how's it going to hit my bottom line in cost takeout or revenue that are upticks related to it? And then scalability. So am I able to scale my business from a stage 2 organization to a stage 3, or from a 3 to 4, depending upon maturity? How can I perhaps utilize this tool to get the organization to the next level? So it's having those strategic conversations. And as we talked about earlier, the alignment of business and technology, the CIO now is right there sitting next to the CEO in most of these conversations. So it's very interesting how we're transforming businesses around unique value proposition, profit method, and scalability.
So this is your slide, I think, Paul. So this
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is good old. This is Dr. Porter. He's awesome. So it's kind of interesting. I just was participating in an academic program at MIT Sloan, and they go right back to these 3 drivers or dimensions related to it. So what the issue is, it's not only taking the model that we saw previously, but it's overlaying the business expectations and managing those expectations.
excellent, excellent. So I'm going to go back to this, because it's always a combination of, the problem itself and making the business case, and then making, like we said, you know, data is an asset, just like we talked about that 15 years ago, but still data is not an asset in every company. AI will have to be an asset in every company eventually. So I'll turn this over to Leila. What are your thoughts on the business case or anything related here?
I'll start with data because, yeah, it starts with data. But if you're in a government organization, not all data is equal. You have to make your data accessible. You have to make sure it's high quality data. I mean, there's a lot of prep work that needs to happen for data to truly be an asset on which AI can leverage and make things happen. And that, it's an expensive process. It needs to be done. So we have to make the business case for AI to get the funding to fix our data and make that better so that we can actually get the benefits of AI. And, you know, we talk about impact. That goes back to experimentation. Why are you doing AI? What's the outcome you're expecting? And validate that. It's a model we do for other business decisions, and AI should not be any different. What's the expected outcome? How do we know we're going the right direction? And when do we pivot or when do we proceed?
Excellent. Hosni, your thoughts?
Yeah, what I see is the impact and the ROI are what drives everything. If there is no value for the company to implement AI, then they don't need to do it. They have to see what's the benefit and what is the cost compared to the savings that they would get. And that's what's going to drive the whole operation. If there is enough incentive for the company to actually go into that direction, then they will have enough resources to actually pick the right algorithms, figure out exactly which ones to use, figure out which solutions, which areas they need to hit, and which areas will generate the most or the largest win. And then data will follow, because you can always, you may not always have the data when you start, but you can always find the data when you need it and when it's going to impact your operation. Again, as I mentioned in the webinar, you don't run a business without data. Otherwise, you would not be in business today. So data is there. It may not be highly accessible, but it is there and it's available, and we can actually get access to it. So that's really the key for me, is everything is going to start with an ROI, and without that ROI on top, no one would really just adopt any of these technologies. Even going back to the Bulan example of a typewriter compared to a word processor or a computer, then, you know, if there was no value in actually going into that direction, we would not be using PCs today, right? So it's the same concept.
Yeah, I think I just want to add a little bit on data. I think we're in a unique situation where you got an algorithm, but we also have edge computing, Internet of Things, low code. We have the ability to create data easier, meaningful data, not creating just data for bad reasons, but creating data for the right reasons so you can make more informed decisions. We've never had that before. And that, to me, is one of the biggest breakthroughs in the last 5 years, is the IoT costs have dramatically dropped to allow us to see and to monitor things and feed into these algorithms and engines, you know, how to optimize your workplace. Himanshu, any closing?
Yeah, no, you rightly mentioned what has happened in the last 5 years, and the speed to market has changed completely now. I mean, it is not like where you are sitting on a feasibility analysis for 6 months to find a solution for a small part of the large problem. So speed to market has gone substantially up for sure. And in this AIDR model, I feel like it could be maybe identifying a problem first, defining the ROI first. If there is no impact on return on investment, I don't think that problem is worth solving. So that problem might coexist while AI make another giant leap on a different level, but till the time there is no return on investment, I don't think that there would be a possibility or any any sense to go back and look at the problem statement. Data, you are right, and Hosni, with the way you mentioned, if you don't have a data, you're not a company or you're not in a business for longer, for sure. So data is important, data is key, but at the same time, you might have go through some cleansing of the data, so doing some data mining, making sure the data is ready for the next show, that is for AI. And as far as open data concerned from a public sector perspective, I think Philadelphia just recently went through that, and now we have this Philly open data where you could get a lot of data points available publicly. So that is a good initiative, and I know a few folks who were part of that initiative. It took them about 3 years or so to get there. I think it's a lot of data mining which is required. So data is key for sure. And recurrence of the problem, we all know, I mean, the more repetitive problems we solve, the better solution looks and the better the ROI is. So I totally agree on all of these topics here.
Excellent discussion. I think we covered this. What are the potential ways you can hyper transform your enterprise? I think we answered this in all the discussion, would you say?
I would agree.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
so yeah, quite a bit of discussion on that.
I think we covered most of the questions we have. We have other things, but just going through them. How do you harness AI algorithms to unlock new opportunities for competitive advantage? If I think we pretty much covered this. Is there anything anyone wants to add to this question?
Not much, actually. All new developments are opening new areas and opportunities. We just need to understand them. But I agree, there was the discussion just coming from Leila and Hosni. The first question is why you are doing this, whether you need this. And the needs will determine the projects that you're going to be taking on.
Right.
The one
Right.
thing I'd add is who's in the conversation. So we talk about cross-functional teams. Here, who are having these conversations about AI algorithms? You have to have your business people at the conversation, because that's how you get the ROI. What are the business problems? What are the real world implications of this? It goes back to, we're talking about ROI, but I think ROI starts with having the right people in the conversation. And I would suggest start involving everybody in the conversation, because we all see something that nobody else sees. And the more layers that we can add together, the more perspective, you can get a much more nuanced picture that will then allow you to choose the right AI algorithm. But you have to see first before you can fix problems.
Excellent point. Anyone want to add to that?
And those people in the conversation, the whole aspect of learning and being a learning organization now with AI is so critical, because people that might be process-based in the business that are looking at RPA, or people that are looking at low-code applications in IT, or the analytics and finance people over on the intelligent decision-making, have different skill sets and different ways of looking at a business problem, a process, or a technology. So in addition to who, it's how do you bring them to the right level to drive competitive advantage in the overall business. And really, I think this is, we've been, we talked a little bit earlier about the AI hype cycle. 2 to 3 years ago, it was all about innovation, right? That was the hype cycle, right? Yeah. So we talked about innovation. Now we have tools and solutions that actually could drive innovation across the global economy, as well as within our local businesses large and small, actually. So I think it's an exciting time, and that's what hyper transformation is all about. Small bites, launch, learn, relaunch, and transform with people, process, technology, and of course data.
Absolutely. Anyone have anything to add to that? Okay, so The next one is, I think we covered this, how to implement AI-based solutions to automate repetitive tasks, streamline. I think we covered that quite a bit.
Jim, on that, we can go back
Go
just a second. One thing
Sure.
I've got to caveat here, too often what happens in automating repetitive tasks is what I recall automate the madness. So before you do that, like fix the human process first, fix the actual process, and then automate it, because too often we don't do that first part. And we end up with an automated process that is still not as effective as it could be. So the first part is to streamline your process, value stream mapping, whatever you want to call it. Do that, and then choose which process to automate. Goes back to the ROI conversation. If something is repetitive but very low cost, is it worth using AI for that? Finding the right opportunity, the right process to improve. What is your critical path or your critical value stream? That's where you want to invest in with AI.
So I do have a question here that's kind of interesting. It says most companies probably don't understand what the impact of AI could be. So this is the art of the possible, so to speak, discussion, because they don't really know what can be done. Do any of you do kind of art of the possible exercises with your clients to give them a better understanding of possible AI applications?
Yes, I mean, not just AI, but a lot of our work is envisioning what's not reality yet. And there are a number of tools and techniques that you can take people through and say, okay, what if, how else? And it's a facilitated conversation. It takes time, and it takes people's time to do it. But it's a conversation that you have to structure to do what we call a yes and approach. And we have to be able to facilitate in a way that gets people to think differently. So some of it's hypothetical questions, some of it's scenarios, role-based play. It's a combination of things that you do to get people to think about what they know in different ways and to consider how what they know could apply to what they don't know.
Excellent. Paul, I saw you nodding hard, so you're up.
Yeah, it's why it's critical path. I think we mentioned our presentation, change management and user adoption, upskilling. It's a brand new, it's becoming innovators because our roles in the company, in an organization are changing. The way we work is changing. Make those folks part of the change and watch adoption increase and watch productivity and the value and alignment all come together.
Yeah. Hosni?
Well, from our perspective, we basically have a set of tools and a set of guidelines to actually identify which AI or where do we implement AI and where do they get the actual benefit. And of course, we start with the data, actually going back to that business case slide. We start with the data to see what's available. If we're starting today, what's the data set that they have? How can it be modified? Can it be cleaned? Can an RPA help in cleaning that and get it into a form that we can feed that AI engine? Then we go into the implementation, identify which one of these solutions is actually going to give us the most ROI. With any company, the first project is going to define the success or failures of anything else that you would do forward. So we need to pick an implementation, a proof of concept that actually have a large win to it, has a high ROI, and it's highly visible. So that's going to be the next criteria that we use in that selection. Then you look at the algorithms and which one to use, how to develop the twin and actually get it up and running, tying in the different systems and actually going through that process and implementing it all the way through. But we always go through that process initially to identify what is feasible. And in some cases, we identify that the data has to be cleaned or the win is different than what they thought the win was going to be. So there's going to be an agreement up front of what that process is going to follow. Then you create a timeline from that on how you expand that small win to basically the rest of the organization.
So that sequence is so critical, like you said. So,
absolutely.
And you really have to have the C-suite bought in when you try to come in at a lower level. I've seen that you might have a short-term win, but it's very tough to have a long-term win.
Exactly. It just would not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be on board, especially from the top down, and they have to be to drive it.
Yeah. Bullant, I know you're itching to talk, so.
Well, we have a very pragmatic approach when it comes to this because this question usually boils down whether my business is AI-able and such. We have a totally different approach to this one because there are two different kind of prospects that we're talking to. If you are Tesla and you're building electric vehicles, then our suggestions will be totally different to you. And majority of the people are really lost in detail of these AI, what kind of AI, what kind of algorithms, and so on. The first thing is what you would like to achieve. If you're Tesla and you're trying to go with electric vehicles, then you need to invent things new. If you are not the front leading company in the world in your business, then you need to look for the others. That is the easiest and tested and tried method. You look for which companies are doing. So you are building a car, look for Tesla, what they are doing, look for Toyota, what they are doing, and that is going to tell you what is doable. That is the first thing. And the second thing is whether you can do it. So all these details will be actually discussed a lot later because people, when hearing these hypes, are really started thinking AI centric and they are trying to make everything AI in their business, which is not necessary. Just look for your business, look what the competitors are doing, look where you are in your. If you are at the top, then you need to invent, for instance, if you are OpenAI, then you need to invent the encoder, decoder algorithms. You need to invent what a large language model is because there is no competitor in this in the scene for you because you are at the forefront. But if you are not, look for what is available. A small open source LLM is going to solve your problem. That is your problem. That is your solution. If ChatGPT is the solution, then you will go for this one. The problems will bring their solutions. That is our approach.
Yeah, nice, Bullant. Himanshu, any closing remarks on this topic?
No, I think no. All the panelists mentioned very rightly that this, again, like you need to find what is the right fit for your solution, what problem you're trying to solve, and pick that tool. You don't have to reinvent the tool. Now we have so many options already available off the bat. You can just take it from the shelf and implement it. But having said that, reviewing the process is very important. The current process, what you have for that specific problem, value stream mapping has been there and that has worked so much. So I think the value streaming is a good option to start with. As Osni mentioned about the data, I think the data is key. So when you're redefining the process, ensure that there's a correct, appropriate data also, and then pick the right tool to automate that or to solve the problem however you want to do it. ChatGPT, Traverse Flow, Transflow, there's so many different tools now. OpenAI, you could pick one and make it.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put a true toolbox up, it would be in font 5, maybe font 3 or 4, and then fill this entire screen. And there's so many tools out there.
Right.
I mean, when you think about the way my analogy is, when I think of engineering, and there's so many facets of engineering, it's the same thing with AI. When you say AI, it's huge. It's even bigger than engineering. So there's so many different applications of AI, and we're just right at the precipice. We just started down the journey, and everybody's panicking. There's no reason to panic. And when I see the hype curve, and I'm just going to bring it up, I don't want to go into it in detail, but a lot of folks get over anxious about the hype curve. I think the hype curve is a great tool to say what are all the things you probably want to watch and monitor, but don't get everything, the innovation trigger, the first hump there. Those are all what's hot, what you might think is hot. But the question is it going to make it out to plateau of productivity at the end here? And here we got computer vision and a lot of these technologies have been around. Will it survive? How many of these are going to survive the hype curve? And so think about when you talk about implementing, if it's on this side, it's much more dangerous than when you're implementing over here. So pull out some things that are a little bit more simple to implement. So I certainly don't want to go through and explain what everything is on this chart. And there's 100 or 1,000 other applications out there of AI, but just that's my 2 cents. Anyone want to add to that?
Well, much can be said about this curve. There's a lot on the left-hand side as we see, and some of them are really not realistically be achieved in the next 5 to 10 years, like artificial general intelligence or similar ones. What I find most interesting is, for instance, composite AI. That would be probably the most used type of AI in the future. We actually are using composite AI. But when we say composite AI, we mean not one particular algorithm in one domain, but it's just an amalgamation of several domains like computer vision and text and others, working together, building something, a system, which is more performant than the individual AI components of it. I think that is going to be the future in the AI plethora. I don't know why they put this on the left-hand side, because if you look at your iPhone or if you look at your car today, you can see the primitive examples of composite AI. You have computer vision because of your camera in your car. You have other systems like machine learning algorithms measuring the sensors and just feeding information to a little computer in your car. Well, actually, computers are not that little in the cars anymore, but that is already happening. I think that is going to be the future. So many different components of AI coming together, building more performance systems.
Thanks, Willem. Anyone else want to comment? No? Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with Bulan. Composite AI is definitely the future. There is never going to be a single AI algorithm that's going to solve everything. It's just a combination of multiple properly selected tools to actually get you where you want to be.
Anyone else? What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the screen and just go around and have closing comments for everyone. We'll start with Paul.
Yeah, I think it's alignment here. So it's the strategic plan, it's the data governance, it's product delivery, it's process. It's then sequencing this to the AI stack. And the AI stack changes a little bit more because on top of applications, infrastructure, developer tools, and hardware, we have now these models, these algorithm models that have to be considered. So take those models. I think we hit it. Have the problem, define the solution. Don't get involved with solutions that are looking for a problem out there, and then take it in a way that offers value in slow steps that you can hyper transform in 3 to 6 month sprints. Start with small, with something like RPA, and then move to low code, and then link it together with AI. It's a ready, aim, fire type of approach.
Thanks, Paul. Leila?
I agree with Paul. It's contextual awareness. Who are you? What is your organization doing? What are the problems you're trying to solve? Fit AI into everything else about yourself. This is not something that's standalone, as I said earlier. How you apply AI depends on who you are now and who you want to be. And that starts with self-awareness. So have that conversation about who do we want to be as an organization, and involve as many people as possible, shape that collective intelligence, and then think about where is the use case, where's the ROI, and learn by doing. I think Bulan said earlier, like, we've gone through lots and lots of technological disruptors. Everybody knows that as human beings, as organizations, we've proven we can handle this. So keep doing what you're doing, do something small, and most importantly, keep learning. As long as you're learning for your context, it's pretty hard to go too wrong.
Thanks, Leila. Himanshu?
Yeah, I think from a hyper transformation perspective, it is very important to start with small problem, what you're trying to solve. Pick the right tool set, pick the right mindset that okay, this is the solution I'm going to solve, and this is the problem I'm going to solve, and this is how the approach looks like. And pivot when the time is right. We do not have to go all in and build this stronger sprint cycle and having a 1-year plan for roadmap strategy building. I think as Paul was mentioning that, we start with a couple of sprints and see what value it adds and then transform it further. Using these tool set for RPA from automation side, using low code for building an application, having AI engine to boost that performance. I think that's a good tool set to work with, and especially in this now changing times, I think it's easier to implement these kind of technologies rather quickly that way.
Thanks, Himanshu. Mulat? Closing thoughts?
For me, whether you're using a daily AI for your business or not, my suggestion is learn AI, do AI, and spread AI in your organization. Because the digital culture that you are establishing for your company is going to be very important and determining for the future of your company. Digital literacy will become the most important asset for you, for your employees, and for your business. Do AI. It is good.
Thanks, Mulat. Hosni, close us out here.
So it's we all agree that AI is here to stay. It's going to be with us for a long time as we go forward. Bottom line is define your goal, identify what you want to do, start small, and grow into the organization. Don't chew more than what you can swallow. It's always good. So just be careful, enjoy it, have fun. It's a fun environment when you get with AI. So just enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey. Well, thank you, esteemed panelists. You guys are fantastic. Really enjoyed this hour of dialogue, and look forward to working with you in the EIG team. Thanks so much, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And I just want to wrap up the conference, the 2-day summit here, and thank all the speakers, Marty Jackness, of course, Mulat here, Jackie Gurnay, Dan Adams, Hosni here, Reed, Brissett, Layla Rao here, Marcus, who's not here, but it should be Paul there, sorry, and Himanshu. But we thank Marcus too. So we want to thank everyone who was involved in the front and the behind the scenes of this. Brian and his team worked hard to make this happen. There are many, many folks behind the scenes, too many to thank. So thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you at the next Surfing the Technological Tidal Wave Summit, or whatever we call it in the future. But thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, everybody.